We have Guillaume Perez as well. He's the CX Commercial Comms and Orange Wholesale Manager in Finance. And also Claire Chauvin, who looks after the strategy, architecture, and standardization. So we've got three very different angles. They're going to provide three different perspectives for us. And we look forward to hearing their views. Welcome, Guillaume.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. So yes, I'm Guillaume Gauthier, so CTIO of Network within Orange Business Services. And yes, we will talk about API within Orange. First we'll start with B2B area. And we'll first start with the questions on the B2B area, and then after my colleague will share other aspects of Orange scaling up within Orange. So the first question is, what is the future of telecommunication services? So we believe that it's a telco cloud platform, and I will try to explain to you in the next 5 minutes what we mean by telco cloud platform. So a little bit of drawing. So it's a platform that provides an end-to-end orchestration with SLA between the customer, object, user, branch, and their software as a service, private cloud, and public cloud. So that's the first idea of what we intend to do. And then on top of that, on this telco cloud services, we plug the services that are network, collaboration, security services that you can see some acronym here, like SD1, remote access, that is very famous since the last crisis, connectivity, and many other. So this is an overview of what we are doing, and so this is, we developed this for a couple of years. And so I will switch to the next one and try start with some customer or partner expectations about this evolution of telecommunications and what should be a telco cloud platform. So starting from customers, so customer is asking, so I would like to manage my network API as easy as I manage my apps in the public, yes. Okay. Then the partners say, okay, I would like that you open API on your infrastructure in order to reuse my development tools and to push my value-added services on top of your telco cloud. And it's still from the partner, I will mention the last one is that, okay, what is a telco cloud compared to any other cloud? So I would like a cloud that provide performance and cost model adapted to network-dependent use case, okay? Because here might be a difference with some generic clouds. So then, to go over this challenge, we started 2 years ago to develop, so we already have a backbone all over the world, and we transformed this backbone with a telco cloud platform, and you can see here, we will go up to, very soon, up to 100 telco cloud platform all over the world. Okay, so there's the point on the map represents where we spot it. And here you find where we plug the services. So apart from that, again, insisting on what is the difference between the telco cloud and the cloud. Where do I mention telco cloud? So you can see here, we want to make connections, and I will go until the end of this slide. So so we think that any user branch site should be never more than 10 milliseconds to our network nodes, okay? And then in addition to that, their cloud services, their public cloud, should never be more than 5 milliseconds to, again, our telco cloud platform, okay? So a telco cloud is really focused on performance and application that need this, again, around collaboration, network, security, that needs this kind of cloud. So we did that, but okay, it's not enough. It's not enough because all that, if we have done that like that, it will not behave like a cloud because we need to open it. And this is why you are here at the Apidays. So this is really at the heart of our strategy, and I will describe that on last slide. So we open this to API we publish, documented those API on Orange Developer Portal, and this is absolutely essential to meet the expectations of the customer and the partner. Because in a nutshell, what both customers and partners would like is that our infrastructure behave like a cloud, just like a cloud. The telco cloud is that we are doing performance security, but they just would like that we behave like a cloud. And for this, we need obviously to open API for both customers and partners. So let's just last slides to dig a bit into it. And I will summarize this one. So this telco cloud, if we dig into it, there's kind of two parts. Let's say the SaaS part that you can see here. It's an API that is available for our partners. So what I said, our partners is directly developing using our infrastructure and using the API to reuse their development tools and to then directly push their applications on our telco cloud platform. Then instantly, it will benefit from all our customers and all their public, private cloud services. Okay, so this is the SaaS part. And then you can see on the north part that what we call the telco cloud console, also accessible through an API, that is available for our own ops, so the guys that are running this infrastructure, but also for our customer. Our customer does access to the same API than our ops, okay? And through the telco cloud console, then now available, they can get the control to the whole infrastructure, all the services that we provide through partners. So we already did that for a couple of partners that I can mention, Fortinet, Netscope, and then many other ongoing, with Cisco and many other, okay? And we intend to really accelerate that and scale up on this model. Open API at the north for the customer and our own ops, and use the same, and open API in the south part in order for our partners to reuse their deployment tools and to deploy directly their services in our worldwide network. So this is more about it, and I will leave the floor to the other Guillaume that will present you another part of Orange yes. API.
So if you want to work at Orange, maybe if your first name is Guillaume, should be an advantage. Good afternoon, everybody. So it was a B2B use case. Now I will share a wholesale use case. I'm working at Orange Wholesale France. I'm in charge of the customer experience and business owner for an API program. The purpose of this program is to develop and expose API to our customers. And the purpose of this API is to cover the full selling process of some of our core business solutions. So maybe a few words about Orange Wholesale France. I think it's important to understand what we do. We are a telecommunication wholesaler acting in France. Our customers are all the other telecommunication wholesaler, telecommunication operator, and telecommunication integrator. And this customer use our API to buy our services. It's a few million selling acts per year, and for maybe 15 years from now, before today, it's there's a selling that selling through API represent 99% of our selling acts. So API, we use it every day for a long time. But why this program? Why this new API program? So you can tell if it's working and you make business with this, why to change it. There is some good reason for this, and one is we need standardization. So why we need standardization? First of all, the main reason maybe is linked to something that has changed in France. In fact, the telecommunication market playground has changed these last years, because we come from a situation where we were one wholesaler selling the last mile, the copper last mile, to other operator, other retail operator. And I'm talking not about just the free one, maybe you know, that sell internet access, for instance, for the mass market, but I'm talking about hundreds of telecommunication operators acting on the B2B business. And I include the big one internationally. So now, with the fiber, there is a lot of infrastructure operator installing fiber in France. And now we have almost 100 wholesalers in France. And each wholesaler is buying and selling the last mile to the other wholesalers. And they do that because they want to have the market of the retailer at the end. So this is quite, you can imagine this is a challenge because each wholesaler has its own IT, its own legacy IT, sometimes it's even manual. So we think that the only way to facilitate the business is to have just one set of API for everybody. So we initiate that program within Orange Wholesale France. So, and it's open and available for 2 months now. The selling process I was talking about, in 2 words, it starts at what we call the eligibility, when an operator wants to know if there is fiber at this address. That's the first step, pricing, and at the end, obviously, the resiliation. I hope not, but it's the last one. And the command follow-up that is quite tricky because you have to check that everything has been done at the end customer side. To do that, we just need 5 APIs. The one you see on the slide. Only 5 APIs, but internally, to do that, we had to develop 12 APIs, a basement of API, and that was a win-win situation for us because it was a way both to deliver the 5 APIs you saw just before to our customer to facilitate the business, and in the same times, it helped us to address one on the main challenge we had internally. It was to cope with a very complex legacy IT. To deliver the 5 APIs, we have at least 15 applications to directly develop into to get the API. So instead of changing this legacy IT, we make a basement of 12 APIs, and you use it internally to innovate, to create new processes, new internal operation application, and to expose them to our customer. So it's, we think, one of the main challenge we had in this project. And regarding the key success factor, as it's API sorry, my French coming, to the customers, we include the customers from the beginning of the process. We design it with our customer, we test it with our customer, and to be sure that they use it, we put in place a very strong organization to help them to train on this API and to really use it every day in their business with us. So we hope that this move will help to the globalization of this standardization in France. And finally, if you want more information, so we opened this set of API 2 months ago. On the left, you can, on the right, you can find the first offer that benefit from this set of API, that is FTTH access link. And on the left, you can find the Orange Developer portal, that is the portal where we expose this set of API. So thank you very much for your attention. And I will be ready for the question after.
Thank
Claire,
you, Guillaume.
Give you the ground.
Hello, everybody. So just move a little bit. Now, my colleagues have been talking about business services. They've been talking about wholesale services. So I'll come a little bit more to the mass market services and mobile potential APIs. Moving on. Right, so I'm in charge of strategy, architecture and standardization in Orange. So I'm going to give maybe a bit more perspective on the future, on what is coming in our networks. And what we foresee is the arrival of potentially lots of APIs in our networks, especially in the mobile networks. We are deploying 5G, we are softwareizing, cloudifying our networks, and this will of course lead to opening many APIs everywhere. We need them for our internal needs. Firstly, we need to automate quite a number of processes in our networks, and so we need all those APIs as they have been requested in IT previously. And then we think there might be also opportunities to open up some of them, all of them, probably not all of them, but some of them that could be helpful or useful for service development and going further than what we do today, because we already have some, but addressing the wide, I would say, mass market customer base that we already have could be useful also for developers to provide new services using these new APIs. So we're on track to work on this, and one important factor for us is to work in this area in the most standardized way as much as we can, especially with our partners, other telcos, because we think that if we want to target lots of developers, lots of users of those APIs, we obviously have to expose our assets the same way. We don't want people to redevelop each time. And in the network area, technical complexity is a fact, so we have to provide a standardized way for developers to access those assets and possibilities. So you see there different standardization forum or open source fora into which we put our efforts in order to bring what we think is really valuable and useful to open our network APIs. So if I start on top, you will find quite technical APIs actually, quite operational ones. We need them for our internal needs. And we need to put this in place in our networks. Guillaume has just mentioned telemanagement forum just before. This is one of those we focus on. 3GPP ones are very technical ones. We need them, as I said, but we also think they are far too complex to be exposed as such to any kind of external developers. In the middle, you will also find MEF, Etsy. These are other types of APIs that are more, I would say, dedicated to the management part of our networks. So it could be useful if we open access to those management APIs to some of our customers, some of our B2B customers probably. But this is another set of APIs that we have here. Very far, but last but not least, you can find GSMA and Camara proposal. So Camara is an open source alliance that is hosted by the Linux Foundation. This is where we have started working together with quite a number of other mobile telco in order to find a simplified way to expose all those very technical and complex network APIs. So we've started putting priorities on some stuff that we think might be of interest, trying to define how we can expose that simply so that it can be used by service developers. And GSMA, which is the association of all the GSM operators, is helping us quite a lot, and we have set up new projects also in the scope of GSMA, adding some quite a number of operators contributing to expose those APIs, thinking of the way we can do it together and maybe the way we can use them also in between us, because we need as telcos to have interconnections, interworking, and so using APIs to do so could be the solution to what we're doing today. In a roaming area, for instance, we would probably distribute this differently tomorrow. I'm not going to enter into all the details of what we're doing there, but just for you to know that standardizing all this is key if you want to maintain and let's say have a good forecast on this business. Just very quickly, because I think time is running, a few examples of the focus that we have in terms of network APIs that could be open to develop new services. So there's nothing really new, and actually some of these we already exposed them today. But just for you to understand that it's quite a complicated work to have them exposed the same way by all the operators. We have decided to focus on those first one. Some we already exposed in different manners, but really the purpose here is to have an alignment between operators and vendors that support us in order to bring really the simplest way to develop services. So connectivity status, I'm not going to detail everything, but as you can imagine, is the client, the customer connected is he in a place we can imagine. User or SIM information is about getting information between the device and the SIM card. Has there been SIM swap? Can we find information related to the last change the customer did? Enhanced connectivity is probably at the heart of what we focus most, including when discussing with our partners on this topic. It's related to the quality of service, enhancing the latency, providing additional traffic capacity. There are quite a number of promising use cases in this area, so this is something we're working on. Identity check, because operator could be a root of trust to identify the customer. Identify the number is a very basic one, but it's an identity check. And career billing, this one we already exposed it in a different manner, as we have seen recently with our partners from other telcos. We don't do it all the same, but basically it's relying on the fact that you could add an offer, a product, or whatever the customer has selected, and have it paid on his mobile telco bill. So either prepaid or postpaid. Anyway, it's a facility to provide billing. And this one we think it's a very used one, so we need to carry on working on this one. Assuming that also compared maybe to many IT APIs that we had before, we might also invent some new business models with these network APIs, and these are things we have to think on. I think I've gone through. Just want to advertise again Orange Developer, because this is our portal today. So you will not find all the nice network APIs that I've been describing, because not all of them are standardized, but you will find quite a number of them, interesting ones, and you can try and test if you don't know it. Thank you very much.
I think we may have time for like one or two quick questions for the team here. Has anybody like to? This is the big chance to talk to the group here. And I think you also have a stand outside as well. So with people there ready to help and answer specific questions if you need. But can I take anything from the group? No,
Maybe for Guillaume, I have a question. Yeah. Is this difficult to open the network from the engineer point of view?
Yes, yes, obviously. I mean, it reminds me what we just heard just before. I mean, engineer or technician doesn't like to open network, but as it was said just in the conference before, we need to do it. I mean, there's no matter in doing it. So yes, it's difficult. It's very much changing our mind. But we absolutely need to do that. And what is also nice, I mean, maybe from outside you don't see that, but from Orange B2B, so in my area, we do sales to enterprise, and my colleagues sales to B2C, so everyone, including myself. and when so on our position, we buy from other operator, like more than 100 in the world. And we are looking for the API that you are developing. So all the telecommunication market, yes, it's hard to open infrastructure like telecom that are not used to, but it's really, we are getting into it. We must go there. It's essential for everyone. So that's really my feeling.
Thank you.
and I think a great testament to having people from different disciplines, different parts of the organization coming together to talk about these important topics, which is a recurring theme in the world of APIs. So thank you very much on behalf of the API Days team.
Thank you a lot.
For you giving up your time this afternoon.